Sometimes they will be so normal looking, but they will be like people. And they'll be around us and they'll be like people. And I remember I worked in the cafeteria at my school at Cincinnati Christian University, and I'm like the dish guy. I would collect the dishes and send them to the dish team in the back, and they wash it. And so I got to meet a lot of students and professors come out, they bring their dirty dishes, and I scrape it, put it back. Well, there's this guy, I just loved seeing him in the cafeteria. I didn't know who he was, but he always carried a briefcase and dressed real nice in a suit. And he was eating there, and people would talk to him, and he would sit at the table. Students would talk to him, and professors. But he brought his plate to the dish rack, and I scrape it, and I look at him, and then his eyes. I said, angels have these eyes that tell. It's like it's this purity and this innocence. So I'm looking to his eyes, and I'm like, and I'm watching, and he knew that I could tell, and so he looks at me, and he puts his eyes down. He looks back at me, and I'm, I move the dish rack, and I'm like zooming in, and I'm like, are you an angel? And then he puts his head down again, and then he does that, and he said, "Look, I don't belong here." And I was like, and so he turns around and to leave, and he did this, and he said, don't mess up my assignment. And I said, okay. And so he was on the campus. And this is what's interesting. Like, we are interacting with angels all the time, and we just don't even know it. This angel was walking the campus, and people were attracted to him. Like, that he was just, and he would just talk to them. And I don't know what he was saying, because I was really trying to be like secret agent thing, like don't mess up this dude's assignment. And I remember, it was like a week of him being on campus, and then I remember I was watching him in the center of the campus. There was like a field, with grass and seats and stuff, and he's there. And then he knew I was there. He turned, he looked at me, and he faded into light. It was like his body went whoa, into light and shot up right into the sky. And I was like, so I was like, this is so cool. I loved it. I was like, it's just like an adventure. I mean, yeah, it's an adventure. And so I'm always like praying and thanking the Lord that everybody would have an awareness of the angelic realm. Yeah.
Micah, this is wild. Okay, so I have so many questions because you're just like, okay, so I want to go back a little bit to when you said,
Yes.
because we're going to come back to this because I'm like,
Sure.
Micah, you're saying so much. I'm sure you get this. But okay, all right. So when you were younger, you said you
Yes.
saw them as balls of light, but
Yes.
so were they not in, I guess, the form that we picture, like with head, eyes,
Yeah.
ears? They were just balls of
Like
light.
like humanoid forms. Yeah, they were.
Okay.
So angels, yes, they were in balls of light form.
Okay.
So angels have an ability to transform. Sometimes they will be like just pillars of light. Sometimes they're these balls of light that have light like ribbons coming off of them. They're very beautiful. Sometimes they're like an atmosphere, where it's like like when you see the sun resting on a vehicle, and it's like you see the heat moving. Sometimes they'll look like that. They're like an atmosphere.
What?
Hmm.
Okay.